feel the body nice and heavy. Let's take one more breath. And then inhaling it back to center. Last long reach here, full body nice and long. And as you exhale, float your hands down by your side. So your hands simply come down by your sides. You can bend your knees, set your feet to the floor. Let's give just a little windshield wiper of the feet here from side to side. So just let your knees rock a few times from side to side at a depth, at a pace that works for you. So start to feel just that little bit of release around the low back. And then if it feels all right on your neck, move your head as well, moving your head the opposite direction of your knees. So your head rolls from side to side, your knees roll from side to side. And then from here, we'll come to center and just let your knees knock together. So let your knees support one another here. Soles of the feet flat down onto the floor. So you can heel toe your feet however wide apart you need to make that happen. Let your knees hold each other in place, and then inhale, reach your hands straight up to the ceiling. And a bear hug as you exhale. Simply wrap your arms around your rib cage. We're going to be here for a few big breaths. So just let the arm bones be heavy. Start to feel just a little gentle opening here into that space between the shoulder blades, that space behind the heart. But really just nice and relaxed. So again, arms are just heavily sort of draping over your rib cage. And then check to make sure that you can take full breaths. So if there's anything about the breath that feels like you can't take deep breaths, feels a little bit strained or pressured, especially from the weight of your arms, just see if you can put a little more effort into it. Really lift and lower the rib cage, lift and lower the arms here as you breathe. One more breath. We're just going to cross the wrap of the arms here. So remember which arm is closer to your chin and take a breath in, reach those hands to the sky, a little reset to tuck the shoulders, and then we'll exhale opposite wrap. Bring the other arm in closer to your chin. And again, just give it a couple breaths, nice and heavy. Nice and soft here. Just let your body melt down into the mat. One more of your biggest breaths. And then inhale, reach those hands straight back up to the ceiling. Hands can come down to rest on the belly as you exhale. So hands simply resting onto the belly, and then heel toe your feet together so that now you can let your knees drop open to the side. Just a few breaths here. If you'd like support, you can always tuck a prop under each knee. We're only going to be here for a few breaths. So breathe deeply enough to move your hands. Let your knees just be heavy. And try to let your body just really settle here. So nice and soft, nice and relaxed. Take another big breath. And then using your hands, you can reach those hands down, find the outer legs, and just gently press to bring those feet back to the floor. And again, make sure that strap is handy. We're going to use it here in just a moment. And really take a few moments to get deeply into the legs and the hips here before we start the more flow part of our practice. So you can keep your left foot on the floor and go ahead and grab for that right knee, hug your right knee in towards your chest. And now you can not necessarily use a ton of arm strength here, but you can use a little bit if you like. So usually the weight of your hands is going to be enough, but just find what it is that works for you. Let that knee roll in towards your chest. You can give a few rolls of your ankles. You can take a little rock of the knee if you like, maybe a little circle of the knee. Just kind of work a little movement into that right hip. Let's take another breath. And then taking hold of that strap. So strap, you're going to take it and you're going to loop it right around the highest point of the arch of your foot. Now, if you don't have a strap, you can simply hold onto the back of the leg here with your hands. So either option. You've got that strap though right around the highest point of the arch. And when you lift that right foot towards the ceiling, you're going to keep your knee soft. So try not to force it, try not to over straighten it. Just keep it to a natural degree of a bend here, whatever that means for your body. And if you've got the strap, reach your hands nice and high up the strap, lifting the head off the floor, and then create a little traction, a little tension on the strap as you lower your head back down and you lower your arms to come down towards the floor. So if possible, rest your arm bones onto the mat here, but we do want to keep a little tautness, a little tension onto the strap just to kind of continue to add that little bit of an extra stretch. Again, option, just hold on to the back of your leg. But give it a few deep breaths. Like I mentioned, you want to try to keep that knee from locking out, keep that knee really as bent as you need. So if things are feeling a little tight or cold this morning, keep it just as bent as you need here. You're still most likely going to find a stretch. So just breathe through it. We always want to keep everything safe for the body and keep it gentle enough on the body here that your body doesn't start to tense up. We want to keep it all nice and soft. Let's give it just a couple more breaths. Still breathing in and out just as deeply as you can. Let's take another inhale. Transfer both ends of the strap into your right hand. That left arm is going to open out to a T, and as you exhale, keep a little tug on the strap, but open that right leg out to the right, just however far it happens to go. And again, if you're not using a strap today, you can always use your right hand to kind of support that leg, almost like a little kickstand as you open it out to the right side. So a few big breaths. You do want to make sure your left side stays on the floor. So your left hip, your left shoulder stay really heavy. If you find yourself rocking over to that right side, I find it helpful to open that left arm out to T. And then your left leg, you can have it bent or straight, whichever one does give you a little bit more connection, whichever one does help you to keep that left side heavy. So just a few breaths, just that tiny little bit of tension, a little bit of tug to the strap. So it's almost as if your toes, in addition to dropping open, are pulling just gently towards the wall behind you. Let's take another big breath. And then the next time you inhale, lift the leg straight back up to the ceiling. We're now going to straighten that left leg if it's not, and then switch the strap to your left hand. Whenever you next exhale, keep a little tug on the strap and just barely cross the midline with that right foot. So you're going to pull it towards the left side, but barely. Just enough till you feel a stretch somewhere down the outer leg, kind of IT band area is typically where you'll feel it. But if we pull a little too hard, if we bring that leg a little too far over, we tend to pop right over that stretch. So just find it where it is. Again, just take a few moments, close your eyes. Keep that little bit of tension on the strap so it's still as if your toes are just lightly tugging towards the wall behind you. Let's take one more breath in. And then moving towards a twist here as you exhale. You can do this with your leg straight, or you can bend that knee and pull that right leg all the way across the body now. So again, leg can be bent or straight, really just whichever feels good to you. Do try to make sure that that right shoulder stays on the mat. So if you're keeping the leg straight, you can still use that strap to hold on to. If you're bending the knee, you can simply let your left hand come onto that opposite knee, that right knee, anchor it in place. And then lastly, from here, as long as your neck feels okay with it, you can roll the head a few times from side to side and just be very conscious of where you stop, where your head comes to rest. Take another deep breath. One more inhale, and then squeeze the belly, exhale back to center. Keep that core nice and tight. Let's hug the right knee back into the chest. So still in that same leg, hug that right knee back in. Take another breath in. And then left foot to floor as you exhale. So bend your left knee, make a figure four with that right ankle, giving just a light little flex to that right foot. So pull your toes back subtly. And then you can start with pushing that right knee out just a touch. So use your right hand and just push that right knee out Doesn't have to be anything big. Just a little kind of reminder to not let that knee roll in towards your chest. Feel like you're just getting a little bit more opening, a little more space into that right hip socket. Let's take another deep breath. And then stay here if this is plenty, or for 5 or so breaths, grab the back of that left leg and hug your whole little figure 4 in towards your chest. Now that's going to intensify that stretch into your outer hip and into your outer glute. So if it feels like it's too much, simply keep that left foot on the mat. Let's give it one more big breath. Good. Last big inhale. And then gently release as you exhale, set that left foot down, right foot comes to meet it. And then just pause for a moment. Hands can come back to your belly. Just reconnect with your breathing. To make sure the breath is still steady, and just notice how everything feels here. If you notice any difference between the right side, the left side, maybe you do, maybe you don't, but take that moment to just check in and acknowledge. If there's any little shift or adjustment of the body you need to make here, feel free to reset in any way you need. We're going to take one more big breath. And then switching sides. The next time you inhale, you're going to grab your left knee this time. So grab that left knee, hug it in towards your chest. You can start by giving some rolls to the left ankle, maybe using a little bit of arm strength, but nothing too much to hug that knee in. And then you can also add a little bit of movement, whether it's circling the knee or just rocking a little bit, and just again, creating a little movement and mobility here into that left hip joint. So try to stay centered on what you're doing. So if the mind tends to jump in and take you somewhere else, give it a nice deep centering breath. See if you can come back to your breathing. See if you can reconnect to what it is you're doing. Take another breath in. And then as you exhale, we'll start to lift that left foot to the sky. So again, you can just use your hands to support the leg or grab hold of your strap. Loop it right around the very highest point of the arch. And as you inhale, lift up just as high as you can here through the hands. Create a little tension on the strap, and exhale as you slowly lower, dragging the hands down the strap and keeping that little bit of tension here. Left knee just as bent as you need it to be. So always find something that feels okay on your body and that is sustainable. Check your breathing and make sure that you're able to take deep breaths. Give it just a couple more big breaths here. Perhaps with time, you notice that things start to loosen up just a touch. Maybe your toes get a tiny bit closer to the wall behind you. Whenever you next inhale, bring both ends of the strap into that left hand. Open that right arm out to T, and keeping a little tension on the strap, will exhale, drop that left leg open to the left. So left leg falls open to the left, or you can simply use your left hand like a little kickstand, support the leg. If you're using the strap, do keep just a little bit of tension, a little bit of tug on the strap. And check that right side. Make sure that your right side remains grounded, remains heavy. Your shoulder, your foot, your hip, all whatever's touching down here, nice and strong. Keep a good steadiness here to your breathing. Let's take one more deep breath. And then inhale, lift that leg, foot back to sky. We'll swap hands with the strap. Now straighten that right leg, and as you exhale, left arm to T, very slowly pull that left foot just slightly across the center line here. Again, it does not need to go far. Key is to keep it not too far and keep just a little bit of a tug, a little bit of tension on the strap, just to help you Get into that outer hip a little bit more. Again, option is always there to use your hands instead of the strap. Few deep breaths. I want you to feel like almost like you're standing tall here on that right leg. So your rib cage is nice and long, your spine is long. Let's take another inhale. And then move to the twist as you exhale, this time letting that left leg come all the way across. Maybe you keep your hand on the strap and keep the leg straight, or you can bend the left knee and just use that right hand to support. More than support, I guess, add a little bit of weight to it, helping to bring that leg across and hold it in place. So a few of your deepest breaths. And then check your neck, check your head. Consider either a little roll or rock of the head, maybe a little change in position, exactly where the gaze lands. One more inhale. And then exhale, squeeze the belly, bring it back to center. Give that left knee another little squeeze here. Hug it in towards your chest, nice and tight. Let's take a deep breath in. And then right foot to the floor. As you exhale, you're gonna bend that right knee. For your figure four, cross your left ankle onto the knee, and then use that left hand, just gently guide the knee out a little bit. Nothing super forceful. Just kind of encourage that knee to push away from your body. One more breath. And then you can either stay or find that full figure four, about 5-ish breaths. We'll grab hold of the back of the right leg, hug that whole little bit in here. Give it a nice tight squeeze. Even if you're feeling a good deal here into that left hip, just try to maintain a steady rhythm of breath. Really feel what's happening in your body this morning. Take one more inhale. And then gently release on exhale, foot back to mat. You can unhook that left foot and either take your feet down for a windshield wiper or your knees into your chest, just whichever feels a little bit more intuitive to your body at the moment. We will be meeting with the knees into your chest, but feel free to, like I said, take a little windshield wiper, feet to floor first if that feels good to you. We'll hug those knees into the chest here. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. Now you can also take your hands one onto each kneecap and draw a few big circles with your knees. So you're going to draw those circles however big it feels okay on your low back. The bigger the circle, the more movement into that low back. And then once you've done a couple circles, switch the direction and take a few the other way. Take another inhale, squeeze the knees in. And then as you exhale, simply roll over to either side. We're going to take our time, but start to lift up to the hands and the knees. So no big rush to get there. If you like to take that extra breath or two on your side, it is all yours. Whenever you do make it to the hands and the knees, just start to move around a little bit, whether it's through a few cat-cows or some barrel rolls. Just some movement into your back. We've been on that back for a little while, so we want to get the spine moving. And I'm always a big advocate for move every body part every way, every day, just to keep our mobility. So just try moving your spine, moving your body really here through every possible, direction and range of motion that you can. Take another breath in. And then down to your elbows as you exhale. Take a few breaths here on your forearm in just a real modified puppy pose. So if you want a little bit more intensity, you're going to start to point your tail straight to the sky, and you're going to start to let your chest dip down towards the floor. So the lower your chest drops, the higher your tail lifts, the more intensity you're going to feel. So if this is a bit much, back off from either or both of those things. And then finally, your head, you can simply hold it in a position that feels okay, or you can let the head drop if that's okay with your neck. So just a couple breaths. I just want you to feel here some opening through that front body, through the chest. I also want you to feel like your spine is really long. Take another big breath. And then squeeze the belly. Let's inhale, come back to a more neutral spine and reach down into your hands, taking your hands back under your shoulders. Once you're back up, again, barrel roll, cat-cow, just reset. See if you can take a moment, really spread your fingers nice and wide apart here. You're gonna tuck the toes, and as you make your way to downward dog, double check to have those feet at least hips width distance apart. Sometimes going a little bit wider feels good too. And then start by lifting and lowering your heels a couple times, right up to the very ball of the feet to stretch into the soles of the feet. And then when you push those heels down towards the floor, you should feel a little bit more stretch in and around the calf, around the Achilles. Let's take another big breath in. And as you exhale slowly, crawl the feet forward. We're going to come up to the top of the mat. Feet are hips width distance apart, maybe wider if you'd like a bit more stability. Grab your opposite elbows, bend your knees quite a bit, and just let yourself drape here over your legs. Now, if holding onto the elbows is too much, or if your low back is bothered here, you can always just take your hands down and rest them onto your legs or the floor. Take another inhale. And then release the arms as you exhale, taking a little dangle here, that ragdoll type position. See if you can look down and spread your toes nice and wide. We'll inhale, then rise halfway. Come up to your half lift. Exhale, fold, settle back in. And then inhale, come up to standing. Push your feet down. Sweep as tall as you can here. Hands touch together above your head. And as you release hands to heart, we'll exhale. Just take a couple breaths here standing. Just kind of get your bearings. Give yourself a moment to adjust to being on the feet again. Sometimes that's just a little rock of the weight, really trying to spread the weight in through the soles of the feet here. Sometimes that's that little check to make sure we're not, locking the knee and stiff in any way. So you want to try to stay strong through your muscles, but keep your joints a little bit soft. Hands can come by your side. Give a good roll to your shoulders here. So really try to settle those shoulders back and down in your Tadasana. Feel yourself a bit lifted through the crown of the head, and then we'll inhale together, hands sweep overhead. And then dive forward as you exhale. Be sure to bend your knees. Pull yourself into that forward bend, letting the head drop. And inhale, rise halfway, long spine. Exhale, deeper fold. Inhale, now stand tall. Use the strength of your legs to push down. Lift the chest, the arms. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale again, rise up. And exhale, dive down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, stand tall, anchor, and reach. Big, long stretch. And exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, lift. Exhale, dive down. Inhale, halfway. And now hands down, plank pose on the exhale. Your feet are going to step back. Take a deep breath in plank here, a little puff to the upper back, and then down dog as you exhale, float your hips high. Plank again on your inhale, rock forward, align your shoulders above your wrists, and exhale, hips high, downward dog. Take one more breath in here, rocking forward right into that plank. Now feel free to drop the knees here if you like, it's up to you. We're gonna lower to the belly. So as you exhale, bend the elbows straight back. Keep that chest pulling lightly forward here. And as you untuck the toes, take a little breath in, cobra pose, pulling that chest forward and up. And exhale, lower the nose back down. Inhale again, rise up to your little cobra, very gentle. And exhale, lower. Take one more inhale here to lift. And then nose to floor as you exhale, stay right here. Try to feel the elbows hugging in towards your ribs, big breath in. And push back to child's pose as you exhale, strong through the core. Send those hips way back. Keep the arms a little bit more active this round so your hands really stretch forward. Another big breath in. And then hands over to the left as you exhale. You can walk them however far works for you. That might be slightly left to center. That might be way off the mat and onto the floor. Try to push back just a little bit through your right sit bone and really stretch out that right side. One more breath. Your next inhale back through center, crawling the hands forward again. And then to the right this time as you exhale, crawl however far works for you. Push that left sit bone way back. Breathe in and out as deeply as you can and really puff, really feel that left side. One more breath. Inhale your way back to center, both arms long once again. Stay here for the exhale, just let all the breath go. And then inhale, rise back up through all fours. We're gonna make our way through downward dog. Lift your hips, send them high. Take a deep breath in your dog. And then crawl it forward as you exhale, inching your feet right back up to the top of your mat. Feet parallel once again. We'll inhale, lift it halfway. And then exhale, fold, dive in. To standing, inhale, rise and reach. Stretch those hands up above the head. And exhale, hands to your heart. Inhale again, lift it up. And exhale, bow down. Inhale here, halfway. Now right leg steps back. Exhale into your lunge, lower down to that right knee. Sink your hips forward and then inhale, lift up through the arms. Exhale, send your hands down onto the mat. Try to keep your elbows nice and soft and find a plank as you inhale, left foot stepping back next to right foot. Exhale as you lift your hips, coming into downward dog. Inhale, now that left leg high. Take just a moment, scorpion dog. You're gonna point your left kneecap to the ceiling. Let your left foot just sort of dangle. Your chest faces the back wall. One more inhale. And then exhale, step forward, runner's lunge. Perch up onto your fingertips here and take a breath in. Lift your hips just a touch, your chest just a touch. Hips stay low. And then exhale, step forward, feet parallel back to the top of your mat. Inhale again, halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale as we now rise, stand tall, push down through the feet and reach those hands. Exhale, hands to heart. Inhale, lift it up. And exhale, dive down. Inhale, halfway. This time your left leg. We'll exhale back into a low lunge, lowering down onto that left knee, sinking into your hips, and inhale, reach up through the arms. Exhale, hands to floor. Squeeze that core nice and tight and take a breath in, plank pose. Right foot joins left. Down dog as you exhale, lift your hips. Now inhale your right leg high. Come to that scorpion shape, pointing your knee up, pointing your chest to the back wall. Another big breath in. And exhale, a long step forward. Right foot lands quietly between your hands. Perch to your fingertips and take a breath in. Keep your hips low if you can. And then exhale, step back up. Feet move top of your mat. We'll inhale halfway. Exhale, fold, bend your knees for chair pose. Start to settle those hips way back and down. And then inhale, reach it out on the diagonal here. So try to push a little more weight into your heels if you can, keeping your knees back behind your toes. Very good. If at any point your shoulders need a little breather, just take your hands into your heart here. Otherwise, another deep breath, really focusing on nice and low here through the legs. We'll take another inhale. And a little half chair as you exhale, send those hands back, maybe drop the hips just a touch, and then rise. Take a big breath in, teeny little baby back bend at the top, lift up through the chest, squeeze the belly and hands to heart as you exhale. Big breath in, rise. And exhale, dive it down. Inhale halfway. And now your right leg back. We'll exhale, crescent lunge. So keep that heel off the floor as you bend that back knee. We'll take a breath in and come on up. Hands a little wider than your shoulders. Feet hips width distance apart or a touch wider. Good. Try to keep that balance here between the core nice and strong and your breath nice and full. And then just anchor the gaze, give it just a few big breaths here. So we're going to try to stay here fairly low down into the legs. We're not going to be here super long. So find a position that maybe builds just a little bit of heat here into the legs, keeps you on your toes a little bit. Let's take another big breath in. And then come forward as you exhale, lower your hands right under your shoulders. Scoot that right foot back a little bit if you can, so that you feel like you're kind of barely able to touch it down. You're nice and long through that leg. And then left hand high as you inhale, moving into your twist. Now, if you'd like support, you can always drop your right knee. So right knee can be lifted with a really active leg, or you can lower that leg down. Stay low in the hips. Let's take another breath in. And then exhale, lower that left hand down. We're going to pivot our body a little quarter turn to the right here. Pigeon toe your feet just slightly, and then a counter twist. Set that left hand right underneath your face. Then inhale, take your right hand up to the sky. So this time the right hand lifts. Again, feet just a little bit pigeon toe. Take another inhale. And then lower that right hand down as you exhale. Your hands on the floor. You can always use a block or a prop, but now just start to shift and shimmy your weight a few times from side to side. So let's just get into the inner legs a little bit more. So you can, as always, listen to your body here and be the judge in terms of how much intensity is going to feel good. How low do you drop? How quickly or slowly do you move? It's going to look at least a little bit different for everybody. Take a few moments to connect and to just feel what you're doing to your body. Another big breath. We're going to move towards warrior two from here. So as you're ready, we're going to inhale and take those left toes, turn them forward. Your left knee faces the front of your space, and then push down a little bit through your feet. Take your time. We have been inverted for a while. You don't want to usually pop up too quick. Once you're there, settle down into those shoulders a little bit. Take a few big breaths. So try to stay strong and rooted here, really grounded through the legs, nice and anchored. And that next inhale will reach the hands up above the head, and then clasp them behind your back. We're going to stay in a warrior two, but just add a little heart opener, a little chest expansion, so you can squeeze your hands together. You can also just take your hands to your low back if that feels better for you. Let's take one more breath in. As you exhale, bend that front knee if you can, just a tiny bit more. And we'll undo the arms in neutral spine, then inhale through that reverse. Take your left arm up and back, open nice and long through that left side. And then exhale, cartwheel it down, land your hands around that front foot. Step yourself back, downward facing dog if you'd prefer, all four or child's pose. It is yours. Let's take another big breath in. And then exhale, creep it forward, slowly walk your feet back to your hands. This time, if it feels okay, heel toe your feet a little closer together. So maybe hips width distance apart or almost touching. And inhale halfway. Back to that chair as you exhale, push the hips back, send them down as you bend the knees, and lift those arms forward and up. So again, you can have those feet closer together this round if you'd like a little more challenge here for your balance. We're going to take another inhale. Then hands to your heart as you exhale, lift and spread your toes. So take your toes off the floor, spread them wide, and then rock forward onto those toes. See about lifting your heels. So if this is too much, you always keep your heels down. See if you can focus on still sending the hips back. Keep your drishti, your gaze nice and steady. One more breath. We're going to come back to Tadasana. If you'd like balancing, you can keep your heels off the floor for just a moment. Stretch it up nice and tall, right onto those tippy toes, and then heels down as you exhale. Bring your hands by your side. Give a good shrug to the shoulders. Take a breath in, arms overhead. And exhale, bow down. Inhale here halfway. Now your left leg back. We'll exhale to crescent lunge. Good hips width between your feet. Bend that back knee and use the inhale to come up. So give it a few breaths. If you want more intensity, sink lower into the legs. If you don't. Try to just relax a little bit the muscles of your face. Tap into your breathing. Good, one more inhale. And then hands down on the exhale, you're gonna frame your foot. Take that left foot if you can, scoot it way back. I want you to just get nice and low here into the legs. Left hand down, we'll inhale, right hand up to the sky. Option is there to drop your back knee if you prefer. But long through the arms here, good open chest. Take one more inhale. And then drop the hand as you exhale, pivot your body to the left this time. Again, finding a little pigeon toe of your feet. We'll add that counter twist, so slide your right hand under your face and inhale your left hand to the sky. Let's take another breath in. And then exhale, lower that hand down and give it a shift or two from side to side. And you can continue with that if you're getting into some good stuff. Otherwise, rock your weight forward just a little bit. So we're not lifting our heels, but we're putting a little more weight in towards the balls of the feet. And then see if you want a little bit more, keep doing that, but crawl your hands back any amount. So your hands might come on to hold onto your legs or your ankles. They might crawl back behind you, reaching more towards the edge of your mat. So find the intensity that works. Just a couple breaths. And then walk hands back under face. We'll inhale, lift halfway. Perch up to a long spine. Bend that right knee and exhale. Find your warrior 2 feet here. Root down to the knife edge of that left foot. And inhale, take it up. Again, take your time. This time we'll simply flip the palms, pull the elbows in and down just a touch. I don't want you to really change the shape of your body here, or your spine, I should say, but really get into the front of the shoulders and chest a little bit by using the arms. So elbows bend and pull back just a touch. Stay nice and low into the legs. Just 2 more big breaths. And we're going to move to that reverse. Take a big breath in, reach that right arm up and back. Stay here for a deep breath, long to that right side. We'll take 1 more inhale. And then cartwheel down as you exhale, right back into your downward dog, pedaling out the feet. Take another big breath in. And lower gently to child's pose as you exhale, walking your knees a little bit wider apart. And this time simply lowering down, keeping your elbows and your forearms on the floor. Make sure that you can rest your forehead. If it doesn't quite reach the floor, then stack your hands underneath that. And just breathe. Take a few moments here, just notice where your heart rate is at, notice how your breath feels. Anything else you're able to gauge here from your body. Make sure you've got some space between your teeth, your jaw is relaxed, and you're just settled. One more breath. And then pick back up as you inhale slowly, rise back to all fours. Come up and move through a few cat-cows, inhaling as you let your belly dip down, lifting the heart, the tail, and exhaling as you wrap the tail in the chin, tucking and rounding. So a couple more, just at your own pace. And if you do want to let this movement morph into anything a little bit different, any little add-ons you want to take, feel free. We'll give a little tuck to the toes, and then as you're ready, walk the hands back, send your hips back towards your heels here with those toes tucked. Get a little stretch in through the soles of the feet. If you want to, you can stay down with your hands, maybe rock a bit to the side. If you would like more intensity, lift your hands and really settle your full weight here onto your heels. Close your eyes and take one more deep breath. And then hands back down, walk them forward. Let's untuck your toes and tap it all out. And then from here, we're going to get set up for a little bit more of a restorative pose. So coming into Mountain Brook, a more restorative back bend, go ahead and just have a little seat back on your heels if you like, but you're going to need your blanket and you're going to need your big bolster or pillow, whatever you have kind of in that respect. So blanket is going to come back behind the chest to give us a little bit of a lift. So you can fold it at whatever thickness is going to work for you. So if you tend to feel like back bends are a lot on your body, go with a thinner fold. If you want something a bit more intense, you can have a little bit of a thicker fold here, but that's going to just intersect the mat behind you. And then you're going to take that bolster or big pillow, whatever you got, and you're going to put that back behind your knees, closer to your thighs and your calves. So what you don't want to do is have it under your feet and lock out your knees and hyperextend your knees. What you do want to do is tuck it in nice and close to your thighs so that your knees stay good and bent, and that protects your low back. So when you lay down, the blanket that is behind your chest should be behind your chest. So not your low back or your shoulders. Really important, you don't want to put your hands forward on your blanket. That closes the front body. We want to open. You want to bring your arms down, elbows and forearms onto the floor above the blanket. So that is step one. Step two is all little micro movements and adjustments and things you need to do to get comfortable. So your body should tell you pretty quickly if your blanket is too thick or too thin. So if you're getting like no lift here to the chest, you might want to fold the blanket a little bit more. If you are, feel like your rib cage is just popping forward here, you might want to take a little fold out of that blanket. And again, arms just kind of lazily out to the sides here onto the floor. Make sure that that bolster is in a position that does keep your knees a little bit bent. And if you did want to do something like butterfly the legs, kind of set your feet on top of that bolster, feel free to go for an option like that as well. We're going to be here for a little bit of time. So as time ticks by, you can always readjust. You can always reposition. You can always change things up a little bit. Otherwise, you've got a little bit of time here. Just lay back. See if you can close your eyes and just truly let yourself drop in. So restorative, really not so much about what we're feeling in the body. You should be feeling, like I said, a little bit of a back bend. It's pretty gentle. But it's really just a space to kind of set the body up, close the eyes, and relax. Find a space where you're utilizing, your muscular effort very little. We're not working here. We're breathing. We're able to just simply lay back and close the eyes. Now that we're a little ways in, see if there's any obvious tension you can feel in your body. So if you're clenching your jaw, or if you're, scrunching your fingers or your toes, or your shoulders are kind of hinched up towards your ears. See if there's just something you can find in your body that you can soften a little bit more. Just checking in to note if the mind has started to wander. Just big centering breath. We're going to be here about another 10 to 12 breaths. So see if you can bring yourself back and really, once again, just connect with your body and breath. Take another big breath. Biggest, deepest breath you can. And we'll start by walking the feet in a little bit. So you can either just rest your feet onto your bolster or use your feet to kind of push that bolster out of the way and let your feet come onto the floor. The knees are pretty bent here. Take another breath in, and as you exhale, you're going to roll enough to one side that you can reach back and slide that blanket out from behind your spine. And just gently bring yourself back onto your back. So scoot that bolster out of the way, scoot that blanket out of the way, come down onto your back, and you can pause, one hand to heart, one hand to belly, and just take a few breaths. So just a nice neutral spine to start. Knees bent, feet to floor is usually a little kinder on the low back after a back bend like that. Feel your breath nice and full, and then whenever you do feel ready, you can take that windshield wiper once again with your head moving the opposite direction of your knees. The next time that your knees fall over to the left, we'll pause there. Feel free to take your arms now out to a T. So you can let your legs stay a little bit staggered here if this feels okay. If it bothers your low back, stack your knees. If you would like a little more, your bottom leg, that should be your left leg, can rest on top of your right knee. So you can take that that left ankle and set it on top of that right knee if you like. Again, that's going to intensify a little bit, especially around the low back. So opt out if it doesn't feel good. Lastly, consider dropping your right ear, looking towards that right hand. Another breath. Now, if you've got that left ankle on the knee, set it down to the floor, take a big breath in, and then squeeze the belly, exhale, rock everything through center and over to the other side. So now your knees flop over to that right side. They can stay staggered if you like. You can stack them if this is too much. And then if you did want to add on, right ankle this time on top of left knee. Maybe dropping that left ear, looking towards that left hand. One more big breath. And as you next inhale, you'll just set that right foot back to the floor. Engage the core and exhale, lift the knees. Take that last windshield wiper or two of the head and of the knees. And as you're ready, we'll inhale and grab the knees, hug them into your chest. Give yourself a little squeeze, a little rock. Let that low back release down towards the floor. Another breath in. And forehead to knees as you exhale, curl it up. Squeeze it super tight. Take another inhale. And then gently lower back down as you exhale. We'll start that transition to Shavasana. So if you'd like any last pose or wiggle or movement, take it now. Otherwise, consider using some props here so you can grab for that bolster once again, maybe tuck it back behind the knees. I always like to take the folded blanket across the pelvis here just for that little extra sense of grounding. But anything else you love in your Shavasana, there's no right or wrong. So find the shape that works. If that's on your back, if that's legs up the wall, if that's a seated meditation. So just find whatever that final shape is that feels really good to your body. Do try to make sure you've got your shoulders just lightly tucked. So always just giving the breath a little extra start here, a little extra space to freely move. We'll take a big breath together here. Take the biggest inhale you can possibly take, and then pause just a moment. Hold your breath at the top. Big exhale. Let each and every single drop go. And as you do, now it's your chance to just completely drop in and surrender. You're not trying to control your breath, mind, or body anymore. Instead, just allow yourself to melt in and let go. And start to notice, start to deepen your breath again. Stay comfortable, allow your breath to deepen, and begin taking some small little movements. So we can just wiggle out the toes and the fingers here. Give a little roll of your ankles, roll of your wrists, slowly shake the head no. And then on that next inhale, full body stretch. Reach the body long and lengthen. As you exhale, knees bend, hug your knees in towards your chest and give it a tight little squeeze. Take a big breath in. On the exhale, roll over either side. If you can, keep your eyes closed and just start to ease your way up and feel your way into a comfortable seat. So whatever that looks like for your body this morning, just find a seat that works, something comfortable. You want to be able to sit nice and tall, have a long spine and open chest, shoulders settle in and down. Hands move into heart space. And we'll close this morning, one final shared breath. On that next inhale, the hands sweep overhead, take a long sweep, a big circle, palms connect. Exhale, hands to heart. Thank you all so much for being present here this morning to share your breath, your energy, your practice. Have a beautiful day. Namaste. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Thanks for coming in. Thank Thanks to the online folks as well. Have a good rest of your day.